Before your smartphone, before DSLRs, and even before digital video, we had this. This is Hi-8, and today I'm going to show you a bit of the format and a camera or two that uses them. So sit back, grab your closest Hi-8 tape, and enjoy. Hi-8 was introduced in 1989 and was a successor to Video 8, a completely analog video format stored on a tape 8mm wide, hence the name. Both were later replaced by Digital 8 and Mini DV around 1999. Hi-8 was designed to compete with VHS-C, but made improvements to the original format by offering stereo audio and longer recording time. These little tape-based cameras were an obvious hit back in the day. If you wanted to record your family gatherings, events, vacations, or really anything, this is what you would have to use, and of course it does have its drawbacks. Tape is a linear access medium, meaning to access the data in the middle of the tape, you'd have to wait and wait and wait until it gets to the spot. Then if you want to record on the same tape again, you have to fast forward and wait and wait and wait until it gets to a blank portion of the tape again. Even with this major drawback though, it still worked and people loved it. You'd see these things everywhere you'd go and you wouldn't even think twice about it. Now imagine today if you saw someone using that in public, they'd for sure get some looks. These days, it's all disposable and easy, but video back then had meaning and importance because of these drawbacks. The camera I have for you today is a Sharp VL E635. Wow, that's a mouthful. It was part of the Sharp's ViewCam product line, and it doesn't quite fit into the normal footprint of a camcorder, and I'm going to show you why. In 1992, Sharp introduced their ViewCam line that allowed the camera sensor and lens to pivot independently of the LCD and tape deck. This meant that you could film above or below you without needing to turn your head to look at what you were recording. Honestly, I haven't run into a case where I've used this feature at all, aside from filming outside and pivoting the LCD to reduce glare. Kind of unnecessary, to be honest. The design that Sharp came up with though was rather successful, and it was in production up until the 2000s and even had some spin-off products from different manufacturers with similar profiles. If you've never seen how these cameras work, you'll get a kick out of this. Yeah, that is actually how you load a tape into this camera. Wild, right? To use this camera, it's as easy as opening the door, inserting a tape, and hitting record. The footage from this camera is just fine for the time, and the audio is actually rather good too. You can add timestamps, effects, and all the basic things other camcorder manufacturers offer. Of course, the footage you are seeing right now is being recorded on Hi-8, so this is the quality you can expect from the format. There might be some quality loss from my digitization process, but it's always going to be imperfect unless you have hardware dedicated for the purpose. This camera is actually rather simple as far as Hi-8 cameras go, and there aren't really buttons all over the place like... Oh, I have this one too. This is a Sony TRV-52 Handycam from 1997, and this is what most people think of whenever they think of camcorder. It's a tube with buttons all over it and a little viewfinder. This one operates pretty much the same way minus the whole pivoting thing with a few extra features and manual controls. The coolest part of this camera for me is the viewfinder. You'd think they would just put a mirror reflecting a picture from the lens or something like that, but no. There is a tiny black and white CRT screen in this. How they were able to shrink an entire tube TV into this small format factor blows my mind. The Sony one also has a more complex tape control on the top, which glows in this weird, mysterious orange gold color. Unfortunately, I don't have new batteries for this unit, which means I can only use it whenever it's plugged into the wall via the charger. That's the thing with these old camcorders. Pretty much all of the batteries are going to be dead for them, guaranteed. And not all of them are going to have new ones being made. For the Sharp one, I was able to find Castar branded batteries that work just fine, but others, I bet the more obscure battery designs just won't ever be made ever again. Another Achilles heel of these camcorders are the capacitors. These things are basically a ticking time bomb inside the camera waiting to go off and kill the entire machine. That's why most thrift store camcorders will never work, even with new batteries. They're going to need an entire capacitor replacement to be functional. Make sure that when buying one of these Hi-8 cameras that it's been serviced and it's functional. Or if you know what you're doing, you can repair it yourself. I'll probably be making a video in the future about capacitor replacement, but I just need more tools to be able to do it, like an air gun and maybe an overhead camera. Hi-8 is a really cool format, and especially now, it can be pretty satisfying to make videos on something that isn't your phone. I've taken this thing on little trips and vacations to record video in a way that stands out compared to my usual phone recordings.
And we are here in Omaha, Nebraska, also known as the Windy City. As you can tell, it is a cool 76 degrees out. Humidity's looking at about a cool 45 degrees. It's a pretty nice day. I would definitely watch out due to a fire risk. We've got low humidity temperatures. We've got pretty dry winds coming in from the north. I can't do it anymore. Oh, I don't even know if it shows up.
Does the light?
It's just so far away.
Really?
Well, I don't know, maybe.
It also has that awesome analog tactile feel that is lacking in just about everything we use these days. It's all touchscreen. I normally wouldn't say this, but I encourage you to look online for these cameras rather than your local thrift stores because of the capacitor issue, honestly. If you can find a working repaired one at your local thrift store, then for sure go with that one, but it seems like that's actually really rare. Supporting your local thrift stores is one of the best things you can do to keep your town alive too, by the way. So that's pretty much it for these Hi-8 cameras. I could go more in depth and more technical on the format and the development, but I'd like to save that for an entire format documentary. That's a little series that I kind of want to get started on this channel. Unfortunately, those videos take a lot of work to make, so I'm gonna just be working on those in the background while I make these ones. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I really want to make an ultimate Walkman buyer's guide though. I feel like that would help with model numbers, prices, features. Basically for those who are new to cassettes and new to tape, who want to actually buy a Walkman or something similar to it, it would be a guide for them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much.